Hello and welcome back to another week of the NRL Supercoach Talk Draft Waiver Wire podcast. It's Chris and Simon with you again to go through all the waiver targets for the Week 16 edition, which is the second major buy round. How you been there, mate?
Mate, it's been quiet for us on the podcast front, but what a better week couldn't think of a better week to get back into it, mate, with a big buy round. And for those that play bye weeks, it's the last chance to sneak hopefully an easy win if you've been preparing. So I've come off 5 straight wins, mate, in the league. I'm back in it, and I'm bloody excited.
Yeah, look at you go. You're riding high. Come back from, what were you, 2-6 or something like that?
2-8, mate, believe it or not.
There you go.
2-8 through what I would describe as one of the seasons from hell in terms of injury and suspension. But it's funny when your team doesn't, go down with a concussion inside 5 minutes, how you can actually dust off of these teams. So, yeah, on a run, mate. I want to keep it going. I want to make it 6.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's like you say, with the buy rounds, it's definitely something that if you can prepare for, you can grab a couple of wins and also a bit of points for as well, which is always handy.
Just as long as you don't talk about Anthony, I finally playing fullback, and I'm excited about Supercoach Milford. Holy shit, that is just brutal.
Well, you brought it up. It's your story.
It's my story, man. I've just said it all. I actually missed a bit of his name there, in that he's decided to go and get injured now. Holy shit, sucks, because I thought he looked a little bit exciting there, playing at fullback for the first time in a while. But anyway, welcome back, Darius Boyd. You wonderful player, you.
Oh, we'll get there. I feel like we don't really need to go too much into it though, because he's what is there to say with Darius Boyd? Honestly, that hasn't been said already.
Yeah, I think other podcasts will, that aren't so much Supercoach or Draft a Line will talk about him more. But yeah, you're right, mate. Everyone's saying the right things, and the memes just exploded after that game the other week, and rightfully so.
Oh yeah, just Jesse Ramey and just standing over the top of him was pretty crazy.
Yeah, is he a big boy? Far out does he look huge when he's running that pill.
Yeah, so that's what the Knights need to just do. Just give him early ball. Like, he's going to beat good defenders. And then you saw what he did to Darius Boyd.
Anyway, yeah. we'll leave poor Darius alone. And I guess a lot of people out there, I've seen the comments. Oh, leave Darius alone. His mental health. That's fine. I get that, but I don't think anyone's attacking the man personally. It's just if the standard's not there, it's free game.
Yeah, no, that's it. He's still there collecting his paycheck with his 2 more years to run. So people are going to say what they want to say.
Mate, if I put in a dodgy performance, my boss is on my tail quick smart. So, that's the argument I always put forward. So anyway, let's leave Darius alone, and the Broncos aren't super exciting anyway. So on to the Dragons. Let's get it.
Okay, yeah, so Thursday night footy this week, the 4th of July, 7:50, Dragons versus Storm. Now, obviously, this game's heavily affected by Origin. We'll start with the Dragons first because there's a few changes there. Obviously, with Tarek Sims heading off to the judiciary as we speak, so we might get some news on that as we go. You've also got Vaughan and Frizzell, as well as Ben Hunt, making their way off to Origin. So plenty of changes here. Also with the return of Tim Laffey into the centres, even though he was named last week and didn't actually play. So we'll see if he actually does play this time around. But look, in terms of waivers, there's going to be options here. Just a few guys I'll throw at you. So Jai Field's in for Norman. Sorry, because I didn't mention Norman. So you got Norman and Nichols in the halves. You've got Corbin Sims starting at front row. Jeremy Lattimore, the other prop. You've got Luciano Leilua in for Tarek Sims and Blake Laurie into lock. So heaps of changes. What do you like from that side?
I got a feel. I'm going to go with two responses there. So Jai Field, while he'll be goal kicking, is always fine enough, especially in a bye week pinch. I'm about him starting. I'll just add here that this Storm side, although obviously Felice Kafusi's not there, and Christian Welsh, I believe, is the other member of the forward pack. The rest of them is intact, and I just expect that there'll be a very good defensive performance from the Storm again. And without both Ben Hunt, who's been in great form, and Corey Norman, who's looked good since he come back, I'm not sure if Dragons will score that many points here.
Yeah, also for Nukin as well. I think
For Nukin, good one.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I missed that. He is okay. That's fair, but I think Brandon Smith's quite a good defensive player as well in his own right. Which we'll discuss him in a minute. So I'll be honest, mate. I wouldn't be too excited about heaps of points there for the Dragons. Aiken, I know you picked up a few weeks ago. Very well done. He's looking really good in base stats again. So he's someone that is obviously should have been picked up by now. Would you pick up Laffey, mate, if he was out there?
Well, I think he'll definitely be up there in more leagues than he's not. I don't think he's really that much of a pickup, just given this matchup. If it was a better matchup, look, I know it's a bye round, so he probably is, but he's not someone that I'm banging the door down to go and get.
What I wanted from you there, sir, because you're very good at this, is which side will be on? Because I see a certain. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Can you help me out with that? I see a Kata. What's the
Solomoni Kata?
Yes, boy. Well done, and the fans go wild. Always love your pronunciation of that, sir. But what side is Solomone on? Because as regular listeners will know, we're not huge fans of his defensive work.
Well, so Laffey is on the left and Aitken's on the right, and then I think last week Olam played left centre because he was inside. He was inside Addo Carr.
Mm-hmm.
So Qatar, I mean, it's just so hard to know given that it's his first game at the club. They could easily switch, but if he is just taking, hang on, this is weird. On the team list I'm looking at, it's got Qatar named jersey number 4 and Olam in jersey number 3.
Yeah, the wrong way around. Me too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, mate. If you can see before team, I'd be tempted to pick up Laffey. I don't know if he's waiverable, personally. I agree with you there. Although his job security is not bad with Lomax's long-term injury, must be said. If you saw going into the game that he was, being marked up by Solomone, I could see an argument to put him in.
Yeah, I think he will be, the more I think of it, because Laffey will be on the left, and if Olam stays on the left of the Storm, then Qatar, who played right centre at the Warriors, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did.
Well, for most of his games. Yeah, I guess he could be worth a stab, Laffey.
So Laffey, I don't think necessarily you want to start either winger, just because, again, I think the Storm will be pretty solid. Jai Field, I'm fine with. I just want to mention Jacob Host, who, if you were lucky enough, I picked him up a couple of weeks ago with this bye round in mind. Did notice he was sneaking that 80 minutes as a front row eligible player. So I'm happy enough, again, fire him up this week in a bye round, obviously. Looks like he'll get 80 minutes there.
Yeah, I think he's a good play. I like all of those back rowers, Host, Leilua and Laurie. I think Laurie's shown us enough this year that if he gets the minutes, he can perform quite well. And just looking at the bench, what do you got? Kerr, Kafusi, all good. So 3 forwards.
Yeah. Is this a 380-minute performance? Because Lattimore's a low-minute forward. Corbin's more of your, also quite a low-minute, high-impact sort of guy. I know Host will play 80 for sure there. That's a lock. Leilua, he's a bigger guy, not normally an 80-minute player. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think... I know Leilua can do it. He's done it before, even with his side. But with this bench, Reece Robson's been coming on and playing kind of like that Brandon Smith type role. I know he's a hooker by trade, but he's been playing in the forwards because obviously McInnes doesn't come off the field. So I do think that there will be a spell for Leilua and Laurie.
Yep.
I guess you'd probably see 55-ish minutes, 60 minutes maybe.
Well, I think, mate, it's worth pointing out there then that I'm happy with Leilua and Laurie like you are, certainly as options for this week. But I'm happy to actually put Jacob Host as sort of a low-end waiver claim if he's still out there somehow, just because of that front row eligibility. And it looks like he's settled into an 80-minute role there.
Yeah, he's got rest of season. It's not really upside because he kind of is what he is, but you could justify a claim, put it that way, because he's not going to be a 1-week play.
Yep, that's right. And that's it for me.
Yep, I also agree. Dufty, if he's out there, you might want to go for, but he's probably owned.
Yeah.
Okay, over to the Storm. So we mentioned Olam, we mentioned Qatar. Munster's out, so Billy Walters comes into play 6, which I think there was some optimism there that maybe there might have been a shake-up where I think there was a rumour going around that Smith was going to play 6, Brandon Smith to hooker, just to accommodate
Pappenhausen
somehow. But obviously Hughes is still there, so Pappenhausen owners are not very happy with this news. You stashed him for this long.
Mate, I tell you, I'm shocked to see that team list, and I would also be paying attention very late up till game time, because surely there's still a chance that Hughes goes in and plays in the halves, right?
Yeah, you could see Hughes to 5/8. And
what more does Pappenhausen have to do? He's been absolutely phenomenal in the game time he's had, so I find that a little bit strange, and I tell you what, if Pappenhausen's starting, get all around that against this Dragon side.
Yeah, that's true. I think Pappenhausen, would you still waiver for him, though, if he's out there? It's a big call to make.
Oof. He's one injury away from being a bona fide top 10 as a fullback. So I'm okay with it. At this stage of the year, these are the stabs we've got to make sometimes. I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah. Look, he's probably owned, to be honest.
Hey, to be honest, mate, I think people, they would have hung on to him till at least now. I certainly, guys, don't look at that team list and drop him. Make sure this is how they actually line up on game day.
Yeah, as soon as that team's announced, then you can flick him.
Make your decisions there. If you need the bye win, obviously. Just as well, mate, I would be fine to fire up Brandon Smith here. I have no problem with that at all as a 1 week start.
Yeah, he's gonna be good, isn't he?
He's a worker, mate. He's a guy for Supercoach going forward. He'll become very relevant in the not too distant future, I feel.
Yeah, he could be one of those guys that everyone's waiting for him to get his spot when Smith retires, Cameron Smith, but he might just become relevant next year, just doing what he's doing.
He's almost very close. I liken him to Jazz Tavunga in terms of Supercoach. If he ends up getting those minutes with his high PPM, I mean, he's very startable, as you know, your boy Tavunga.
Yeah, I mean, how good's Jazz?
Jazz? Mate, I tell you what, you're onto it before me. I'm quite a fan. I really like watching him. He's a real try, but we'll get onto him in a bit.
Okay, so last one on the Storm for me. I think Joe Stimson's a free agent or low-end waiver.
Yeah, fair. So why a low-end waiver? Because obviously it's not a long-term, it's a 1 week special. What's the go there?
Oh, it's a bit of a cop-out answer, I guess. I mean, in this week where you're just needing guys to win, you could justify a low-end waiver on pretty much anyone.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I kind of like him.
Yeah. I agree, mate. Sorry, I agree. He's good. He's a good player, good real-life player too, actually, so nice.
Yeah. Okay, second game Friday night. Yeah, the only Friday game. We got the Tigers versus Roosters at Bankwest. For the Tigers, pretty much an unchanged looking side because apart from who played center last week that got injured? He didn't play centers last week, did he?
No, I've just had an absolute brain fart. Robert Jennings?
No, he's still there.
No,
I've lost it.
Missing? I've lost it as well. Who played center that got injured? It was good. Yeah, I just wanted to point out, mate, what does our boy, the myth, Chikam, got to do to actually get a start? He is very good.
Yeah, I don't know why. He doesn't just play center for him.
What's wrong with him? He's powerful. He's quick. He's very elusive. I'm sticking with it. I think he is an underrated talent in our game. Yeah,
he is. He should probably be a starter at somewhere, and you think the Tigers would be that club. The guy we're talking about was Mbai. Moses Mbai is not.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
so origin and injury, but
yeah.
Look, the team's pretty much as it is for the Tigers. Really, it hasn't changed too much. Is there anyone that you'd be that keen on terms of waivers?
Well, there isn't because it's an unchanged side. The people that should be owned should be owned. I imagine the only name people looking out there and considering in certainly 12-team leagues and above would be Josh Alawai, who's now starting at prop. Any interest there because of the potential, like with Elijah Taylor, Cheekham on the bench as well as Little? Does that maybe mean that he's going to play decent minutes?
Yeah, it might do. Like it was weird last week because they played that Oliver Clark at front row. But I don't know if Alawai didn't actually play last week.
Yeah.
I think he might be a sneaky one. Well, not really sneaky. He's had a bit of buzz, but people might not be onto him anymore.
I'm going to say, just in the same as the Joe Stimson, I'm happy enough with a flyer waiver if you need to get a win this week. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, no worries. I'll put him down. I think a lot of these guys, like you said, Eisenhuth would be owned, Nofaluma would be owned.
Yeah, I can't see anything else there. The only thing, if Cheekham does end up starting ahead of Momorowski, which is unlikely, I would love that. But yeah,
but Corey Thompson, would he be owned out there?
he'd be owned, mate. And I'll just say something about. I was going to mention this about Corey. So never have I seen a guy look better real life and perform well, and need a kick try to even score 40 odd points. It was confusing. He's a very good football player, and he looks so busy. He's always breaking the first tackle, but you'd look at the way he played and thought he would have snuck his way to 60 in base, but he bloody got nothing.
Yeah, it's weird. You think he gets more tackle busts than he does. He kind of he beats guys on agility, not strength, so he doesn't actually bust to the letter of the law, bust the tackle. He kind of just maneuvers himself in a position where he kind of makes quarter breaks, and it's not really getting him any points.
No. Bloody good player, though. I'm happy they've re-signed him, and he's great to watch at the fullback spot. Thoroughly enjoyed it on the weekend.
But Chris Lawrence, he's not a superstar anymore, but for a buy round,
I think there are better options, but I can see an argument. With that bench, though, I mean, it looks like he'll probably be rotated as well as Eisenhuth.
Yeah, well, he's only been getting 63 minutes pretty much, 2 games he's played.
I can't get super excited about that.
Yeah. All right, let's go off the Tigers. There's not a lot there. Over to the Roosters, Joey Manu goes back to fullback for Tedesco, which sees Brett Morris stay in the centres and Ryan Hall come in on the wing. Huge news for Keary owners with Luke Keary named to play.
Huge.
Great for all the Roosters backs.
Huge, mate. Huge for this whole team. I'm pretty much on board with any of the Roosters backs here.
Yeah,
get on board.
Anyone's available, get them.
I like Brett Morris as a 1 week special. Ryan Hall, just the whole lot. Joey Mano will be owned in most leagues on account of his 100 a couple of weeks ago, and he actually backed it up with another pretty good score when moving back to the centres. So I expect him to probably carve up here or do what Joey Manu does and touch the ball 5 times all game. So go figure.
He'd be so Joey Manu to just do nothing now, but we'll see. I actually quite like some of these forwards too. Nat Butcher.
Oh, beast. What a player.
Jeez, he's good.
I mean, we're looking at a guy that if he gets an 80-minute role, either at the Roosters or somewhere else, we're looking at a genuine Supercoach threat, really.
Yeah, so if he's out there, which he should have been on people's radars for many weeks now, given his stats, but it's a bit of a shock to see Angus Crichton on the bench, isn't it?
Do you know what, mate? I'm not often right in this game, but he's one that I said I thought would be a bust this year, and boy howdy, is he living up to that name.
I don't know how you picked that. How could you possibly pick that?
I'm not a massive fan. Like, I know he did really well at the Rabbitohs last year, but I thought there were too many 2RFs in this team, including Orbo just sniffing around, and it's kind of proved to be true.
Bloody Orbison. Been a pain in the ass for 300 games. Okay, last thing for the Roosters, I guess, is Roria Hargraves, I think, should be mentioned here.
I think he's got rest of season value as well. You just have to you can't complain when he gets suspended, gets a 10-minute sin bin or gets suspended for a few weeks. But because he does have rest of season value, I'm happy with the waiver claim there.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay, next game, Saturday, 7:35, Newcastle versus the Warriors. For the Knights, you've got Connor Watson going back to fullback to replace Ponga. Kurt Mann then goes to the centres, which is a bit of a value hit for Kurt Mann.
Sure is,
because he's been okay at fullback. You've also got Mason Lino keeping his spot in the halves alongside Pearce, and you have got Clemmer, huge beneficiary, assuming that Tarek gets off, potentially playing lock this week.
Well, I don't like. I guess it's just another middle forward when you see him in the 13, but you want him punched out the minutes in the in the proper front row. However, I think it's almost certain Tarek doesn't get off for that. Surely.
You wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. I'll try and keep on the news, but I feel like this George Burgess deliberation is going to take up most of the podcast time tonight.
Yeah, it probably will, but I really think David Clemmer will probably be playing Origin. I guess the question there is who comes into the 13 role. Is Herman finally going to get a start?
Yeah, it could be Herman. Maybe they bring Guerra in off the extended bench, but I wouldn't have thought that Jamie Bureau's up to it. He looks just a spent first grader, the poor fella.
I feel so sorry for Jamie Bureau. That was a bit sad to watch on the weekend. Nothing but respect for that man, and I'm proud to have him as a Knights fan, a part of our club. But poor fella, mate, he's not the same.
No, he's probably on his last paycheck.
Yeah, but I'm going to throw it out there that this should be a very good attacking game for this Knights side with Lino, Pearce, Watson, Kurt Mann there. Jesse Ramian should run amok. I could get on most of those Knights' backs, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think you've just got to pretty much pick up any of those backs that are available. I think.
Yep, and Mason Lino, he's a waiver claim for mine because he looked really good on the weekend. That's the best game he's played in a Knights jersey, and there's a chance that I feel like Brown wants him to be the 6, and this week kind of shows that for mine.
I'm just really interested to hear your thoughts on what the Knights' best side is going to be, because I kind of agree that they do want Lino in there as well, but they've just got Connor Watson that they just don't know what to do with him. Obviously, Ponga's fullback, Pearce is halfback. Does Watson play hooker and Denny Levi on the bench, or vice versa? I don't know.
Well, you know my thoughts on Danny Levi. I'm still not a huge fan. I like the way we look with Connor as 9. I think he's sort of grown a bit into the role. I think my favourite is obviously Ponga, Lino, Pearce, Watson. I'll put an asterisk beside Lino in that I do think the decision between Kurt Mann and Lino is actually very close. I'm not quite landed on there, but the way Lino played on the weekend it just worked. It looked right, and I know Ponga. I'm not a huge fan of Ponga as a goal kicker, to be honest. I like what Lino did on the weekend. Yeah,
he did. He did kick them pretty well on the weekend. I think that that Kurt Mann, though, now that Edric Lee is injured, his versatility pushing Heimel Hunt to the wing is. He's probably going to stay in the centres, I think, rest of the season, Kurt Mann.
And I'll be honest, mate, that's a good fit for Kurt Mann. I think when you've got that talent, like the ball playing he has with the good, pretty good defense, quite an attacking, centre kind of works for him.
Yeah.
I'm on board with it. So, yeah, that's me going forward. But as I said, we'll see how Lino goes because he is prone to the off game. So
yeah, it'd be interesting. But I do agree with you that he's a waiver claim this week because he's a pretty good start in what should be a high scoring affair. Anyone else for the Knights before we go to the Warriors?
I can't have. Sione in very deep leagues, but how many concussions can the man have? It's insane. Yeah. Look, if Herman is starting, I could make an argument. That's probably about it.
Yeah, I guess so.
PPM, sort of try and get that 50 to 55. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I just really hate that he's not rated by Brown to be above Gave or even Jacob Saifidi.
Oh, James Gave, don't even get me started, mate. We've had him we've talked about him on the podcast before. I don't like the sort of the footballer that doesn't really have game sense or a brain. I can't deal. He's just he's the guy that Brown will start in a semi-final, and he'll go and like coat hanger someone and get 10 minutes and the binner will lose. He's that guy, and I can't have it.
He did get really hard done by this week for the Symbian, I thought, but
he did. But I think that comes back to it a little bit like Warrior Hargreaves. that he's targeted now. The refs are, they look at him.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that it was James Gavet who got sent.
Yeah, I don't like that. For the record, I hate that. That's probably what happens, but that is what happens. It's human nature.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You can't tell me that Rory Hargreaves, he would get away with stuff that others. He wouldn't get away with stuff that others do. I think he's a target, and rightfully so, because he's done it for ages and he's an idiot. But
the only one that flies against that theory is Josh Maguire, who apparently can get away with doing things that others can't. Which that's a whole other story to have, but it annoys me. Anyway,
yeah, that is annoying.
Jeez, I'm on my soapbox tonight, mate. Far out.
We're on fire. Okay, Warriors. I don't think there's any origin implications here. So the teams are exactly the same as it was, except for Lachlan Burr in on the bench this week with Isaac Luke replacing Roach, which is pretty brutal to see Roach.
Poor Roach. Hearts out to him and his fam. That's a really rough call. Good battler, good player, very rough.
Yeah, so look, waivers. Oh, it's really the question of, I think Carl Lawton's probably the most interesting for me.
Waiver claim. Happy with it. I think that's fine. I think he'll actually be a 60-minute player going forward. I think we now know the story of Isaac Luke, which is really sad, but it's just not there.
Yeah. He's just, unfortunately for Isaac, his career was always kind of built on being a shifty, nippy, runner from dummy half. So when he got older, it was never going to be amazing for him. I think being on the bench of the Warriors is got to be a bit of a kick in the ass for him, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'm on board because I think Carl Lawton has rest of season value potentially, and if you're someone that struggled, and Hooker, let's face it, has been very rough this year, so I'm actually quite happy with him. If you need a hooker, you can spend whatever claim.
Yeah, I'm just not so sure what will happen when Tohu Harris eventually returns. When Harris comes back, does that mean that Blair goes to lock and then Jazz goes back to his 55-minute bench role where he spells hooker and lock for a bit?
Could do, but doesn't that still guarantee, not guarantee, doesn't that still suggest that Launton will get sort of the 60-ish anyway? And he's a pretty high work rate guy in his own right, especially with tackles.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not that high. Like, I'm not as high on Lawton. I think his season high is 49 minutes. So do you think he's going to go up 11 minutes because of this injury to Roach?
That's the logic I'm going with. You've presented a decent counter there, though. That could go wrong. I just think at least you're going to get the minutes this week if you need a hooker, and then you've got the chance that he gets that. But I'm with you. I'm not saying, like, it's not a slam dunk. No way.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go the other way. I don't like it.
Okay.
And that's coming from me who I've seen Robbie Farah now go to a split hooker time.
Oh, that's rough.
And I just feel like that's all that Lawton and Luke are going to be. And if it's not Luke, it'll be Tavanga.
Okay. Yep. No, I can see it. But do you think Lawton is playable this week, or do you think Luke will eat into his minutes too much already?
I think Lawton's an okay start, but put it this way: if I've got a team where I'm trying to just accumulate as many players as I can, like I don't need to worry about halfback or hooker as a starter for me.
Very true.
I wouldn't go Lawton.
Yep. Okay.
But I don't mind him if I'm kind of sitting on 12 to 13 players and I need a hooker or I need a halfback.
Yep.
I don't hate him as an option considering some of the others.
Special mention to Bunty Afua. Geez, I love how hard that guy runs.
Yeah, did he score 80 last week?
He played so well. Like, that legit, like, he just was on fire. He's just charging at the defense.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
So you could, for the 1 week special, I mean, Ignatius has been startable for quite a while now. He seems to be getting a good mix of base, and he had some attacking stats for a run a couple of weeks ago. He's fine. Leesnar Mau's the same as he was. He had a good week last week, but he's kind of certainly a guy you're happy to start this week. Papali'i's already owned, of course. Tavanga was fantastic, and Blair's getting minutes enough to start in a bye round. So all of those guys are fine.
Jazz, how good is he? Wait, I just can't stop blushing over the bloke. How good is he?
Mate, it looks right to see him in your side, and I can't begrudge you how good he played on the weekend. He wasn't nearly 20 runs or some crazy number, and he looked like he was injured. And then he just comes back and just keeps working. Oh, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, look, he hasn't been throwing the crazy offloads like he has been in other years. Like last year in particular, like he was an offload machine. But I know you need to understand, for those who are out there who own Tavanga like myself, we need to also understand that it's not going to be like this for very long. Like when it could even be this week. I was going to say when Tohu Harris comes back, it'll all change. But even Lachlan Burr being on the bench might mean less than Tavanga. So I think just look at him as a 50 to 55 minute player. Don't expect the 60 odd minutes he got last week to be something that's going to be happening on a regular basis going forward.
Which is why he's quite a fine option in hooker, because 55 minutes with his PPM is, settling him nicely to the bottom at least of a top 10. So there's nothing wrong with him as a hooker.
Geez, he actually got 74 minutes on the weekend.
Bloody hell. Sure did, which is, again, amazing considering that he looked like he was injured. So
yeah, 45 tackles, 6 tackle busts, an ineffective offload, and 35 points in hit-ups.
Just a really good player. He must be a coach's dream, that guy. All right, mate. Well, that's it. So I just want to make sure I emphasize that point, that I'm happy from number 8 through to 13. Anywhere there is fine for this week for me.
Sounds good. Okay, let's get on to the last game then, which is the Sharks versus the Broncos. Now, for the Sharks, I think we'll try and knock this one over pretty quickly with waivers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guys you're going to be looking at this week, you're going to be looking at Josh Morris, potentially.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Aaron Woods, Jaden Brayley,
mm-hmm.
Matt Pryor, and I think the other guys would probably be owned. Except I don't mind some of the bench guys like Hamlin Newelly and Jack Williams could be okay as well.
This could be one of the worst Broncos sides we've seen, with the exception of Payne Haas, who can hold his head unbelievably high. This is very rough.
Oh yeah,
Sharks. Should Sharks? I mean, look. I thought people were very quick to say Sharks were going to roll Bulldogs last week. I know I didn't get a chance to say that on the podcast, but I had mentioned it to a mate of mine at work. I was like, why do you think the Sharks team will just roll the Dogs? Now, did I predict an upset? No, I'm not a genius, but I'm not a huge fan of this Sharks side. However, when I see it up against this Broncos team, and Sean Johnson showed signs last week of looking like he was getting back to his magic best, you'd want to hope Sharks are bouncing back and putting 20 plus over this Broncos team, right?
You imagine so. I mean, it's not like you look at their backs, and it is terrible. You'd imagine that their forwards would actually be okay, but they've still got Flegler and Alex Glenn in the team. There's really not much to go with here. I could even see Lodge, Haas, and Pangai all getting 70 plus minutes this week. They could all just be huge players. Obviously, you can't go and pick them up, but is there anyone from the Broncos here that you're even excited to pick up?
No.
Yeah.
Just flat no. I mean, Alex Glenn would have been dropped in pretty much every league. He'll play 80. Yeah, he'll play 80 in that rotation, assuming he's fit.
What about
he's a very, good real life player. Will he play enough minutes? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Probably not.
But
it'll go to Lodge and Haas.
Back to the Sharks, mate. I would even start Sasai Feki this week. He's the kind of guy that'll probably score 2 tries in this matchup.
Yeah, but could you really go Sasai Feki?
I'm going to for the first time ever. It's a name I've never even noticed on a team sheet, but I think he'll probably score a couple of tries here. I think Sharks should, especially considering they struggled last week. They'll come out and just go nuts, won't they?
Yeah, you'd think so.
I just as well Bronson Jerry, mate. I don't know. He's in the centres. Do you want him on the wing? Do you want him in the centres? Where do you want him for Supercoach?
You definitely want him in the centres, wouldn't you? Outside Johnson.
You'd think so. So is this a week that he finally comes good?
Yeah, assuming that's where he actually plays. But
Yeah.
last week they put Dugan and Morris in the centres with Fecky and Zeri on the wings. So who knows? Who knows? They might
Who
just
knows?
do the same.
What about Sharon? Would you play? Would you waiver Sharon? Is this actually like a return, or Fafita's due back next week, so it doesn't mean anything?
I don't really think Woods is. He's not someone I'd be wavering. No way. I'm not. I'm not even that keen on him as a free agent, to be honest. Just because I think a lot of those minutes are going to go to Nakora and Capewell. They'll get 80, and I just think that Woods, Pryor, Gallen, they'll just get rotated with Bakuya, Jack Williams, and Hamlin Ueli. I think he's probably just a 45-minute guy this week.
Yep. A guy you could probably start from the bench again if you want to. He's got a bit of upside there. For the Broncos, mate, I just wanted to add as well. If I was the Jermaine Asako owner right now he unfortunately hearts out to the Asako family. I believe I read somewhere about his father's very ill and he's caring for him and everything, which this podcast certainly sends out our love there. But surely the fullback slot cannot be far away for Jermaine Asako.
Well,
if Milf is indeed injured for what could be up to 10 to 12 weeks, might even be the rest of the regular season, Darius Boyd can't be long for this fullback slot, right?
no, you wouldn't imagine so. The issue is still going to remain, though, with the Broncos. It's like it appears as though they're not going to drop Darius Boyd because he's on the big money. He's the captain. Whatever reason, there's all these rumors going around that the board's told the coach that he can't drop him and they can't drop him, blah, blah, blah.
I'd believe that.
But he's not a versatile player. Like where else can you play him?
Just jump him on the wing.
Yeah, far out.
What's the point? I know it's a terrible use of resources, but at least he's not going to hurt you as much.
Yeah.
If he plays 1 or 6, the chances of that. God damn it, you couldn't put him in the centers. Holy dooly, that would be a disaster. But you put him in centers 1 or 6. This team loses more games than it wins. You put him on the wing, at least he might contribute some finishes because he's always shown he's decent enough at that.
Yeah, but he's going to get run over by other wingers.
I mean, yeah, but is that less consequential than if he gets, if he's the last man in defense and he gets run over, which he's been just jumping to the ground anyway?
Yeah, that's true. He's been horrendous at fullback defensively, but
he can't play. His whole Darius Boyd, to his credit, when he was at his peak, he was safe as houses, and when he was putting the effort in defensively, he would actually make 1-on-1 tackles more often than not. If you take away that, he offers nothing at fullback. He doesn't even. Have you seen him on the sweep this season? Almost never.
No, it's been weird.
Because that's his go. He's a great, he used to be a great defensive fullback that was safe as houses that could defend.
Yeah, just 3-on-2s. He never gets it wrong.
And then the sweep, one of the best exponents of, ripping out to that, picking out the winger or short pass and do a centre. But if he's not doing either of those things, you just can't play him there. You don't have a choice. So shove him on a wing, bring Asako into fullback again when, obviously, ideally for them, Milf comes back. That would be even better. But if Milf's gone for a long period of time, give Asako a crack at fullback. Work out if he's actually a gun. That's what I would do anyway. So I just let's come back to my point. If I was an Asako owner, I don't know how long the situation is with his father. So I could be, maybe I got the wrong info, but if hopefully that resolves itself, that's a chance that you might have a guy who could be really good there. And I think it could, invigorate his season.
Yeah, with Milford, right, at fullback.
Yeah.
I get it. He looked the best. He's looked the best there he's looked all year, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. That doesn't mean it's the best for the side. Because
I'm being greedy.
Who's going to play 5'8" then?
I agree with you. I'm being pretty greedy when I'm saying that. That's for a Supercoach perspective. But ideally, for me, you would put Darius on a wing, give Asako his crack at fullback. Katoni showed a bit of promise. I don't really understand Gemmet Shabaski's game and why he offers something, but whatever. Young player they seem to like for some reason. put Milford back in 6 with Dearden when he's fit. O'Sullivan's fine. He's offered a left foot kicking option. He's okay. That could actually work for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough year, rough end of year. It's been a rough year already, but Jesus, it's not getting any better.
Well, they're cooked. That's the first. I can't remember a season in recent memory where the Bronx have been done this far out, but they're officially lined through them. They're cooked. No chance.
Like this team can't. They're not. This team's too young, too inexperienced, and just not talented. They've got talented youngsters. Don't get me wrong, but they're not experienced enough yet to. And the leadership from the old players is just not going to be there. So
no,
they can't win games back to back to back.
Yeah, they're fair enough. So mate, I guess we should finish. We're always going to go a bit on there about the Bronx, but in terms of startable Supercoach players, both this week and rest of season. So while Katoni is kicking, you always can favour, at least as a forced CTW and a startable player this week. I've got him in my team, and I'm gonna roll up with him most weeks, to be honest, because I think he's got enough base plus the odd goal kicking to get over the line. That's my view there. Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I think he's okay as a fourth CTW. He's not.
Yeah, nothing higher.
Yeah, he's not someone that I'm fearful is going to go out and smash 100 on me, but he's okay.
40 to sort of 35 to 65 sort of range is okay. Jake Turpin is a 1 week starter, so he's only hooker eligible. Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah, just hooker.
He's a crafty little player, actually. Matt Lodge has been good after a rough start to the year. He's actually been pretty good, Supercoach wise.
Yeah, Lodge has been awesome.
Yeah, after that one game you and I went to see where he dropped the ball like 3 or 4 times against the Tigers, he's actually been in really good form.
Yeah, he's been going well. I think he's been one of the better late round pickups this year.
He has. He really has. And hats off to him. His form's been good. Andrew McCulloch, mate, obviously is working his way back. Is he now not an option now that you've got a dedicated hooker on the bench for the Bronx?
Yeah, that's probably something we haven't really touched on as much is what McCulloch is going to be. I don't know.
He needs 80.
He does, but can he get by with 65 and still be all right? I don't know.
Well, all it does, he's always going to have upside because he's such a ball hog at the goal line. We know he's going to dummy and go a lot. That's just how he rolls. And because they're a shit side now, I reckon he'll probably do that more. He also is a bit of a demon for 40-20s. It must be said. But anywho, I think he's pretty much a non-goer for the rest of season.
Yeah, I was going to say all those things you've mentioned, he's always been. So taking 15 minutes off him, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't give me much confidence he's going to hit this upside. So
his floor's 35. That's too low for a hooker. I think he's outside the top 10 comfortably now.
The rest of season hooker rankings would be interesting, but I don't think we've got the time to do it tonight. But
how about we have a look at that going into next week? It.
Yeah, because the trade deadlines in most leagues will be starting to creep up as well. So see what comes out. There's going to be a few obscure names on there, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Your Kurt Manns and guys like that who are dual that are probably going to still be kind of valued given how crap it is. Jeez, it's an ordinary position at the moment.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right, mate. That pretty much wraps us up, I think, because there's no. George Burgess, 9 matches. There you go.
Fair.
Yeah, 9 matches.
Yep.
Josh Maguire, how did he get so lucky?
Unbelievable. I don't understand. Don't fire me up again, mate. I'll get back up on that soapbox. Unbelievable.
Anyway, so no news on Tarek Sims yet. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at Laurie and Leilua.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it'll be okay for this week. It's just more if he's found guilty, then he might miss a match for the Dragons. But
he'd miss 2 more. He'd miss the Origin and then 2 more games if found guilty, I believe.
But obviously, Frizzell will be back to take that spot, so probably not that relevant, really.
Well, you've touched on who I have as a bona fide waiver claim this week is definitely Jacob Host with an 80-minute role pretty much locked in now.
Yep. All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you again next week, mate.
All right, Matt. Thank you, listeners. Let's come on, Queensland.
See how we go. See ya.
Ciao.